and just, work on ourselves. The problem is that we're not working on ourselves. We're not looking at our characters. We're not actually looking at our spiritual heart and thinking, okay, I need to eradicate the diseases that I have. I need to improve my relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I need to have trust in Him. I need to have reliance on Him. When things come my way, I need to, understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sending this to me. Where is my level of patience? And so it's about improving the spiritual self.
Inshallah, inna Allah ma'asabirin, inshallah.
Exactly.
And later on, inshallah, Sheikha, we will learn more about the arts of how to have a beautiful shape of marriage life later on. Maybe we're going to have some tips and advices from Sheikha Safia Shahid. Dan kita juga buka peluang untuk sahabat pendengar, if you have any questions to be asked to our guest today, Sheikha Safia will answer any of your questions through phone. 03-6205-1500.
Yep, and Facebook and Instagram, please write your comments or your questions to Sheikha Safia Shahid. And right after this, maybe we've been married 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, up to 30 years, Sheikha. Maybe some couples lose their spark of the marriage. Maybe the best advice from me.
And some people say, and even some Mashaykh say that the period of one matured marriage life is we should have about more than 10 years. Then it is mature enough. I mean, to be understanding each other. But lower than 5 years is we have to have more patience, sabar, and sabar. So the answer will be later, inshallah, for second round with Sheikha Safia Shahid. Untuk topik Jumaat.
Anda jangan ke mana-mana. Anda boleh hubungi kami seperti talian yang kami sebutkan tadi, dan juga interaksi melalui Facebook dan juga Instagram. Come back to the question.
Let's come back to the question.
First year, second year, third year, fifth year, 10th year, up to 30 years, or 50 years even. How do we want to make the marriage alive, Sheikha?
Right, so, at the very beginning of marriage, we find that couples give a lot of time to each other, but then what happens gradually is that they get busy with their own things and activities, and so there's not so much attention and time that was given at the early periods of marriage. So I think that it's just really getting out of that and just going back to giving time and attention to your partner, so that they feel that they're actually valued, that they are important, and because if you give all your time to all your activities, for example, if the husband comes home from work and then he's so tired and he just goes to bed and doesn't give any attention, then this will affect the wife and vice versa as well. So it's really important that we allow time, because you should never do your activities on account of the time that should be allocated for your spouse. You see, so you don't get so busy in your own things. For example, even the wife with her housework, and forget that she needs to give time to her husband. And likewise, the husband with his work, and he forgets to give time to his wife. So these things will obviously have a detrimental impact on marriage if time is not given. And so it's really important to give that time. This is actually valuable time that will really maintain the marriage, inshallah ta'ala, and ensure that rights are fulfilled of both partners. I mean, that's one thing that we can definitely mention.
Time, how do we spend our time wisely for our partners, and that's why some wise men say that how to spell love is T-I-M-E. I mean, time is very important for everybody to have one healthy marriage. Our brother Zulhelmi Mustafa asked how healthy a marriage is, how to indicate the health of one marriage life, Sheikha.
So, how healthy one marriage is? Well, the thing is that there are going to be up and downs in marriage, and if there is a down, it doesn't necessarily indicate that the marriage is unhealthy, because this is just natural of life. And so I think that inshallah ta'ala, if both husband and wife are striving in a way to always improve themselves and improve the marriage, that's a sign of health. The fact that you're always improving, the fact that you're always, focusing on yourself and being a good servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, fulfilling the rights of the other. Sometimes in marriage what happens is that we get so fixated on our rights that we want, where's my right, that we forget that we need to owe and give rights to your spouse. And so I think that that's very important in marriage, is really just focusing on fulfilling the rights of the other, because if both partners do this, then you have all rights fulfilled. You see, and so we need to go beyond actually the rights and do a lot more, inshallah ta'ala. Just having that respect, a wife having that respect for the husband and not belittling him, and that's really important from the wife's point of view. And then also the husband, really manifesting that love and the compassion and the care towards his wife. Both need to work hard at their marriage. It's something that requires effort and hard work, and you'll see the fruits of that if you put all the energy in, inshallah ta'ala, in your marriage. So we give Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala time, we pray and do the obligations, and we give our family time also.
Meaning to say that we should know our roles and responsibility as a husband or a wife.
Of course, yes. This is paramount. You need to know your rights and responsibilities. There should be courses, and I believe in Malaysia there are courses. Is that right? That do that. But the thing is that we don't just get so fixated on the rights and responsibilities and say, okay, this we're just sticking at the bare minimum. This is just the bare minimum. We do a lot more and show the best etiquette to the closest person to us.
Okay, thank you, Sheikha, for the answer. SubhanAllah, it was great listening to the points that we shared by Sheikha. Let me translate a little bit. Sheikha sebentar tadi menyebutkan bagaimana tanda-tanda ataupun sign bagaimana kesihatan sesebuah rumah tangga itu bukan pada kalau ada down, ada masalah itu menandakan tidak sihat. Tapi Sheikha menyebutkan bagaimana kalau kita cuba untuk memperbaiki diri sama-sama, pasangan improve ourselves to be better and better, itu tandanya kita sihat, insyaAllah. Dan juga sentiasa memperbaiki diri, hubungan pasangan dan juga hubungan sebagai hamba pada Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala, good servant of Allah Taala, insyaAllah.
Termasuklah perhatian yang diberikan, yang diperlukan, attention. Suami balik kerja terus tidur, maksudnya tidak ada perhatian kepada suami, dan juga isteri bersama juga bila berada di rumah sibuk dengan tugasan membersihkan rumah ataupun urusan rumah tangga, tidak mempedulikan suaminya. Itu semua kena dihentikan serta-merta. Perhatian lagi diberikan kepada pasangan.
Minta ataupun claim dia respective rights hak masing-masing. Ini hak saya, mana hak saya untuk ditunaikan. Jadi itu antara yang Syekh sebutkan. We have another question from Ain Mohta, Syekh, about when Sayyidatina Aisyah radhiyallahu anha have very particular in choosing words to be delivered to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the last of Ibrahim, the last of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But sometimes the husbands a bit slow to understand whatever what we call signs or words or the thing that I've been saying previously. Maybe you can.
It's not slow and steady, but it's slow.
How to make husband understand quickly all the signs, inshallah, from wife.
So signs and what
the words. I mean, there are sometimes wives have shown their best to show that they are pleased or they need something in signs. What we call, do you have any best words?
Or she needs something.
Something.
How about saying
but the wife did not show it directly.
Oh, I see.
And the husband could not understand what is the wife
trying to say.
So I think that maybe just because communication is key in marriage, and so if something is not being conveyed through indirect means, then I think just be direct and speak of it in with good adab. Of course, we always speak with others with good adab and manners. And so I think that just convey and articulate what you need, what your needs are, if that's not being understood by your partner.
You can ask our partner what happened, and then if she needs something or anything from the husband, like directly.
Yeah, of course. You can ask. There's no point if because the husband is there to fulfill the needs, provision, and and bringing the money from that. That's the husband's responsibility.
Yeah, exactly.
And so if her needs are not being fulfilled and the husband is unaware of this, of some need, then she can ask. There's no issue with her asking. Inshallah.
Some couples, they put it on a piece of paper, so like a contract. You see, the husband should do this, and the wife should do this. Is that necessary in a marriage?
I don't think it's necessary. The thing is that even before I got married as well, I knew of this whole contract thing as well, and I was like, I'm not going to just make it a set of rules where I demand from my husband. This is not the way that I don't think marriage will work if it's just all about rules. So if he doesn't do this, then I'm going to be upset with him or angry with him. So I think that we need to go beyond being so strict with the rules and just have an understanding that human beings have shortcomings. And so if he doesn't tick the box on a certain rule that we wrote down that he needs to do, then we overlook it. So it goes back again and again to just having good character and just overlooking minor things and issues and not being so fixated on them, and we blow them out of proportion. So I don't think that marriage really will work just focusing and being so adamant about you need to fulfill this, you need to fulfill this, you need to do this.
It's all about love.
Exactly. Where is the love? Where is the just doing everything for your partner, wanting for him what you want for yourself. It's not about selfishness. Selfishness goes, the ego should go in marriage, because now, when you're single, it's more about yourself, but when you get married, it's about the other. It's now actually the focus and concentration is on another human being in your life, which was not the case previously. So it's actually about being selfless. It's about getting rid of the ego.
Okay.
It's about preferring others over yourself in certain situations.
Especially when our partner is together with us every day, every time. So we have to be considering our partner every time and preferring.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Because if both do that, then imagine how harmonious and a loving relationship that would be. If both are preferring the other over themselves, it would just be a really beautiful relationship with no selfishness, egoless, and just really just wanting the best for your partner. It's just to imagine the harmony in that relationship.
Okay, apa yang diserahkan oleh Syekha tadi, komunikasi sangat penting. Setiap pasangan perlu berterus terang, jaga adab masing-masing, dan segala-galanya bukan hanya undang-undang semata-mata, dan kena beyond that, kena pergi lebih jauh lagi pasal perkara tersebut, dan tidak mementingkan diri, buang ego, dan ialah menyantuni pasangan dengan sebaik mungkin.
Okay, maybe now you can share with us some advice for couples who are gradually losing the spark in their marriage. There are times when partners would say whatever, they don't care what the partner is doing, or there are losing sparks in the marriage. What are your advices?
So giving them attention, giving them time, giving the time
to each other.
Yes, giving them time to each other, and looking at why that spark is being lost. And the thing is that, if the spark is being lost, that's the least of our problems, to be honest. I mean, there's no argumentation, there's no war, there's no fighting, just a little spark is not there. Well, spend some time with each other, just bring that early days of marriage back, and just
the album, photo album, look together,
give each other time. I think time is key here. Is really just fulfilling the rights of the other. This is extremely important, and the thing is, obviously, naturally, there is that more of that, spark at the very beginning of marriage. Both are very new. This is natural, but inshallah ta'ala, in the hereafter, this is where the eternal bliss and na'im is. we're not going to, have a high every single time in this life, and so I think that we just need to, inshallah ta'ala, focus on giving time, inshallah ta'ala. If people do this, we'll see that, that there's more connection with the other, and actually you're just asking about somebody, when the husband comes home, how did you spend your day? The wife, also, inquiring about each other, showing concern and love to each other, inshallah, is really important. Making the person feel that they are very honored in your eyes. This is extremely important too. The fact that you show them that they are so important in your eyes and you value them, you consider them to be, the best person in your eyes. This is what creates a harmonious relationship.
Our friends in Facebook, Hafiz Ghaffar, he has an opinion. We always heard that someone looking for a perfect partner, but in reality, nobody's perfect. Actually, we ourselves make the marriage complete. We perfect each other.
Mashallah, that's very beautiful. That's right. There's no perfect Mr. Perfect or Mrs. Perfect that will ever come. These are just ideas in our mind. They don't represent reality at all. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not make any person perfect except the prophets. And so we're going to have our flaws, we're going to have our deficiencies, and and so what if your spouse that you're considering is 1 inch less than what you want? It's not a big deal. If he's got good character, he's got deen, and he's got all of these things, it doesn't matter. If your husband is earning like £100 less every year, it's not a big deal. We get fixated on so many things, and people have huge lists now when they get married. They want this, and there's a huge list, and the reality is that list or that person does not exist except in our imagination. And there's some people who won't get married for years because that Mr. Right or Mrs. Right has not come around.
Do you have that situation? I mean, if that can be acceptable, waiting for
Mr. Right or Mrs. Right.
Look, if a husband comes who's got deen, who's got character, who can provide for you, what are we waiting for?
Just accept the proposal.
Yeah, well, the thing is that, there's cases where, sisters have rejected good proposals, on the basis that they didn't tick every box on their list. And then they come to mid-30s and they're still not married. And then the proposals don't come as frequent as they did, say early 20s or mid-20s. You see, and so I think that we need to just lower our expectations. And that's a really important point, is that never be demanding in your marriage.
Well, because nobody's perfect.
Right.
InsyaAllah itu Syekh sebutkan tadi bagaimana tiada orang yang sempurna. Jadi kita dipasangkan dengan pasangan kita, kita saling melengkapi satu sama lain, dan bagaimana kita juga bila berlaku satu spark ataupun percikan kecil. Syekh sebutkan nama pun percikan, ia hanyalah percikan yang kecil. Jadi don't make it worsening ataupun jangan sampai merosakkan dan memburukkan hubungan. Dan saling menghargai satu sama lain dengan meletakkan nilai yang tertinggi pada pasangan kita. Jangan sampai merendahkan pasangan kita, kerana kita juga tidak sempurna. Sedikitlah ringkasan daripada apa yang Syekh sebutkan tadi. Syekh, we have callers with their questions right now.
Sekali kita ada bersama dengan Puan Azu. Silakan.
Assalamualaikum, sister. This is Azu here. So my question for you is that recall to what you said earlier about don't bring up things if we have a problem, if let's say we have a quarrel with our partner in a family. So if we don't really bring up things, so how possible would they know what are we feeling, what's the feel at that moment, and how possible would we solve that problem, without bringing it up? So do you have any recommendation or solution to how we should tell them what we feel at that particular time? All right, that's my only question for you, sister. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum.
Shall we have another question,
Yeah,
Sheikha, so
sure.
that we can answer
Sure.
them?
All right.
Briefly.
One listener from Singapore, please.
Hi, I'm Titi from Singapore. I like to ask because the one situation where a woman's right that has been condemned by a husband, whereby a wife knows her responsibility very well. She did a lot of things for her husband and for the sake of a marriage life, like a daughter, son. And as a mother herself, she's gained more confidence with experiences that shared with among the friends. So, above of all, that the husband didn't do his responsibility quite well. So, and it's up to the peak of argumentative, whereby the wife wants to make much more better husband so that people will see she has a good husband. So, indeed, that somehow she went to a counselor where she needs her help from the counselor, but the husband made more argumentative with her. He argued more with her that this is not right. But the thing is that she wants the best in her marriage life. So what do you think about the wife herself? Do you think that she is being a good wife, and how about her husband is there?
InsyaAllah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yang baik daripada sahabat kita. Maybe we can straight answer two questions from listeners.
Sure. So, if you could, what were the questions?
First, from Azu, the case of when wives brings up things when they argue with their partners. So, can we do that, or do we have any limit of bringing up things in argument?
So, I mean, things of concern, obviously, that that concern both partners can be discussed. But argumentation, is just a downward road when it comes to marriage, because argumentation there's no end to it, because there's the husband has a certain view and the wife has a certain view, and there's a conflict. And so best just avoid it. For example, if we think of some examples, the husband comes maybe half an hour late one day, right? And sorry, just to pick the example of the husband, we can also pick an example of the wife.
That's okay, so just an example.
Then and so the wife doesn't start arguing with the husband because he's half an hour late.
Yeah.
Why did you come home late? This is terrible. And the husband's like, look, what does it matter? I got stuck in traffic. I didn't, and so don't even, if this is something that when she asks him, it causes, a negative response from him, and it's not even a big deal, it's insignificant, then why bring it up? What's half an hour?
It's somebody's first time for the husband.
So then you learn your lesson, and you don't bring it up again. You see, minor things we argue over. And for example, if you look at now the example, we have to now take an example of the wife, just to be fair. And so, for example, the wife, one day she's feeling a bit tired, and she doesn't, she's delayed in bringing the food to the husband, and so the husband gets really angry, and it's because she's ill or she's sick. So just just to have the understanding, and the husband doesn't attack her or get so violent with her, just for food that's slightly late than normal, and then so. We just avoid situations of conflict. That's the best way, inshallah ta'ala, as we see that many human beings, unfortunately, argue over petty matters. You see, and the thing is that obviously issues of concern in marriages do need to be discussed. You can discuss them, but it's when the other person feels that they are belittled or that you're attacking them, that's when argumentations tend to happen. So we address things in ways that we don't make the other person feel that they're less or we belittle them. Because then then the partner will object to this.
Yeah.
You see, and so we can discuss things in very civil ways without belittling or making the person feel at fault. You see, and so there's ways of doing this, inshallah, of communicating with each other.
Okay,
So
thank you very much.
it is important for us to think wisely before we
give excuses, make excuses. We have, in our tradition, making excuses, 70 excuses for our brother, and 100, make 100, 200 excuses for your partner. He or she do so much for you. Just make an excuse for them. Maybe they were tired. Maybe they were, got delayed somehow. Just making excuses for your partner, and not picking, every little thing that comes your way.
So then don't push the button that will make
exactly. And those buttons tend to be buttons where the other person feels challenged or belittled, when you're undermining them. You see, and so that's what we need to be careful about, insyaAllah.
Okay, Syekha, berhati-hati dalam memilih perkataan, terutama lagi bila berlaku konflik. Jangan sampai menyebut sesuatu yang boleh mencederakan ataupun guris hati pasangan kita dengan perkara-perkara yang mungkin apa yang dihadapinya itu, masalah yang dihadapi itu berlaku tidak sengaja, traffic jam, lambat sikit sebab jam dan sebagainya. Jadi Syekha memesan supaya kita fikirkan bersangka baik, fikirkan mungkin perkara-perkara lain berlaku padanya menyebabkan konflik itu berlaku. Jadi jangan sampai menambahkan keparahan itu.
Jangan menambahkan derita tu. Positif dari Singapura tadi.
Second question. She has performed her responsibilities as wife, and but one word that caught me into my attention, that when she said about she wanted people to see that she has one good husband. So she has done efforts to make her husband understanding, be a good husband to her. So what is your opinion about that?
Sorry, what's the question? Is that she's good to her husband?
Yes, she performed her responsibilities as wife, but she wants her husband to be better by having some efforts. Karina nak tambah?
I was gonna the question.
Yes.
I think she was saying that she's trying to, she's done a lot for the family, and she was saying that she wants to improve the marriage, improve the quality of the marriage, sort of make a husband maybe what she like him to be. She obviously has issues in it, so she found a counselor to help them.
This is
as
one
well.
of the efforts.
The effort that she put in, and he's sort of arguing against it, and he isn't happy about it. So, and she's saying that she's done everything that she can for him and the family. So then, what do you have to say about that? The husband resisting this extra help, this counselor to try and improve things, and then she's sort of wondering whether you
do you have any other alternatives or options?
Can you comment on the situation?
Yeah. So. I mean, we don't know what the issue is, and if a husband is refusing, but sometimes we have certain expectations in our mind. We're not talking about this caller here, but just generally speaking, we want our spouse to be the way that. But we can't sometimes, accelerate people to our standard, because our standard might be extremely high, and we need to just, make people and just leave people to be human beings. And so it depends what the expectation of the husband is, and whether and what the husband is actually doing that's wrong. Did you see? Because if our expectations of the husband are really high, even something that is not wrong, but it's a shortcoming in our sight, it will be because of argumentation from our point of view, or unhappiness from our point of view. So it's just, lowering the expectation, and not expecting much from our spouse would result in us being happier. You see, so I can't comment on this particular issue, but just generally speaking, we can have very high expectations of a partner that we don't necessarily have for ourselves. And so if they don't meet that high expectation, now they need to, reform themselves, get better. But, people are human beings. You can't expect, very idealistic, high, perfect character of your spouse when you're not perfect yourself.
Jadi cermin diri sendiri dahulu. Kadang-kadang kita sendiri ada kekurangan, sedangkan dalam masa yang sama kita mengharapkan sesuatu yang hebat daripada pasangan kita. Ini Syekha sebutkan tadi bukan spesifik pada caller kita tadi, tapi secara general, secara umum, bagaimana perkara ini boleh kadang-kadang berlaku dan kita terlepas pandang, menjangkakan sesuatu, mengharapkan sesuatu yang lebih besar.
Okay, Syekha, should.
But, we can't sometimes, accelerate people to our standard, because our standard might be extremely high, and we need to just, make people and just leave people to be human beings. And so it depends what the expectation of the husband is, and whether and what the husband is actually doing that's wrong. Do you see? Because if our expectations of the husband are really high, even something that is not wrong, but it's a shortcoming in our sight, it'll be because of argumentation from our point of view, or unhappiness from our point of view. So it's just, lowering the expectation, and not expecting much from our spouse would result in us being happier. You see, so I can't comment on this particular issue, but just generally speaking, we can have very high expectations of a partner that we don't necessarily have for ourselves. And so if they don't meet that high expectation, now they need to, reform themselves, get better. But people are human beings. You can't expect, very idealistic, high, perfect character of your spouse when you're not perfect yourself.
Jadi cermin diri kita sendiri dahulu. Kadang-kadang kita sendiri ada kekurangan, sedangkan dalam masa yang sama kita mengharapkan sesuatu yang hebat daripada pasangan kita. Ini Syekhah sebutkan tadi bukan spesifik pada caller kita tadi, tapi secara general, secara umum, bagaimana perkara ini boleh kadang-kadang berlaku dan kita terlepas pandang, menjangkakan sesuatu, mengharapkan sesuatu yang lebih besar.
Okay, Syekhah, should divorce happens, what ways can parents be fair to their children?
Especially for those
Right, divorce is very devastating for children. We don't actually fully realise the impact it has on children. Children know the turmoil that they go through when they see a divorce from their parents. And so I think that if there's no other option and it's a last resort and it has to happen, then the parents should maintain respect for each other before the eyes of the children. That they don't belittle the partner and try and force the child to take sides, because what happens in a divorce sometimes is that you make an enemy of your partner before the eyes of the child, and actually say that it's all their fault, that the marriage crumbled and the marriage broke down. So it's really important to keep in mind that your spouse is still the parent of your child. And to have that respect. There was a pious person who separated from his wife, and he did not utter one word against her. He completely veiled her, so no one knew actually what the issue was, because he put a veil on her. This is the way of the honourable people, is that they don't is that they behave in this manner, and they don't attack and vilify others. And more so your partner, who is the parent of your child. And so it's really important in divorce to maintain the best of adab towards your ex before the eyes of the children. It's devastating enough that they go through a divorce, and then on top of that, they see that you're vilifying either their mother or father. It just tear them apart.
Masya Allah, itu satu Syekh sebutkan tadi, jangan sampai kita menunjukkan pada anak-anak ni memihak kepada mana-mana pihak, sama ada ibu ataupun ayah yang telah berpisah. Apatah lagi jangan sampai menjadikan anak-anak ini menganggap ibu bapa yang berpisah itu sebagai enemy ataupun musuh yang tidak patut berlaku. Dan walaupun berpisah, jangan sampai aib pasangan itu diceritakan pada anak-anak sehingga menimbulkan rasa tidak selesa, rasa bermusuhan, rasa berjauhan daripada anak dan juga pasangan.
Kita tutup aib pasangan kita lah. Okay, Syekhah,
subhanallah, before we have our closing, let us share some info about Syekhah. Kalau nak dengar Syekhah Safiyyah Syahid bersama-sama dengan Dr. Robiah K. Hamzah, Imam Afroz Ali, dan seorang lagi tamu kita, Kak Dina, kita ada Syekh Musa Ferber, maaf saya, untuk kahwin course yang dibawakan oleh Kahwin Care. Tajuk yang sama, Learn the Art of Shaping a Healthy Marriage. Kalau anda nak dengar perkongsian Syekh Safiyyah dan ramai lagi ulama lain, bolehlah ke program tersebut pada 25 hari bulan Februari. Dan maklumat lanjut boleh anda dapatkan Aisyah tu. Dan layari kahwincare.com ataupun Instagram kahwincare untuk sertai program tersebut.
Okay, Syekhah, we we have come to an end. Thank you very much to be here at the Kunti and tell us about the topic today, the art of shaping healthy marriage. So honored.
Jazakumullah khair. Honestly, it's a great honor for me. I love coming to Malaysia. They're just
Thank you very
the
much.
people are so beautiful, mashallah, and it's really a great honor for coming on the show as well. Jazakumullah khairan for having me.
All the